If you're looking for the deep cut on football's greatest rivalries, well, you're in the right place.
Definitely.
Today, we're taking a stack of tactical sources, combining recent form, head-to-head history, and really breaking down the blueprints for one of the world's most intense clashes, the Madrid Derby.
Yep, Atletico Madrid versus Real Madrid.
We are diving deep.
Exactly. And our mission today, it's not just to talk about the history or, the big star players.
Right.
We want to move past the headlines. We're going to give you the technical insight you need to watch this match, like a true tactical analyst.
So we're talking about the strategic decisions, the pressing triggers, all the stuff that actually decides the final score.
That's the plan.
I think if you watch this derby and you feel like it's just this war of attrition, like a chess match played at 100 miles an hour, this deep dive is going to explain why. We're going to arm you with the specific insights to get that complex strategic battle, moving you way beyond just, possession stats or arguments about who's historically the bigger club.
So let's unpack it. To really get the strategies, we have to start with the context.
The recent history between them.
Yeah, the immediate head-to-head dynamics and the current form both teams are bringing into this clash.
And you almost have to start with the historical weight, don't you? I mean, historically, Real Madrid has this massive overall edge in the rivalry.
Oh, for sure. Decades of wins, trophy dominance. It casts a long shadow.
But that historical edge can be, a bit misleading when you're looking at right now.
It absolutely can. And what's fascinating here is if we look purely at, say, the last 5 meetings between these two sides, the results are remarkably balanced.
Really balanced.
Atletico has 2 wins, Real has 1, and they've fought out 2 draws.
That tells you everything you need to know, really.
It tells us this is not a rivalry where one side is currently dominating at all. I mean, Atletico has fully closed that gap. They can get a result against their great rivals, and they do it consistently.
And the current momentum that reinforces it, too. Atletico's form has been strong. Winning most of their last 10 matches, they just look confident.
They do, and they're scoring goals.
Lots of them.
Yes, but, and this is an interesting footnote from our sources, goals are being scored at both ends. Frequently.
Okay, so what does that suggest?
Well, it suggests high confidence going forward, sure, but it also hints at a slight tactical vulnerability. Perhaps an inherent risk Simeone is taking by, allowing his fullbacks more attacking freedom.
Which can sometimes leave that famous compact block just a little bit exposed.
Just a little. Meanwhile, Real Madrid, they're also coming into this with consecutive wins. Excellent form.
But there's always a but.
There's always a but. They're facing some specific concerns, particularly with injuries in attack.
And that is so critical because while Real always has world-class firepower,
right,
any injury concern means the creative burden, the scoring burden, it falls disproportionately on just 1 or 2 guys, like Vinicius Jr. or Jude Bellingham.
And against a team as disciplined as Atletico, a blunted edge, even a slightly blunted edge, that could be the deciding factor.
So what we have is 2 teams in good form. One is dealing with external pressure, the injuries, and the other with this sort of internal tactical tension, the defensive risks.
Which brings us right to the core of the tactical matchup itself.
Structure versus fluidity.
That is the essence of the Madrid Derby right there. It's Diego Simeone's compact defensive structure against Real Madrid's dynamic, possession-based fluidity.
Okay, so let's map out Atletico's approach first. They are the definition of structure. Under Simeone, they set up in that hyper-disciplined 4-4-2.
Or sometimes a 4-4-1-1, yeah.
But what does that famous compact block actually look like in practice for someone watching the game?
Okay, so imagine a rubber band that's pulled super tightly between the defenders and the midfielders.
Right.
The spaces between the players are minimized. I mean, we're talking maybe 8-10 yards between the center backs and the central midfielders. Their goal is to deny Real Madrid any space to play those clever vertical through balls.
So it's not just about defending the goal, it's about controlling the space in the middle of the park.
Exactly. Stifle the buildup, force them wide, force them backward. But like you said, they don't just sit back. They use their defense as a weapon.
An active weapon.
They absolutely do. They use these highly structured, selective pressing triggers. It's not that high-energy, all-out pressing you see elsewhere. It's calculated.
And this is where the analysis gets really deep.
This is it. They specifically target Real Madrid's use of inverted fullbacks.
Okay, wait. Walk me through that. For anyone who might be new to that specific bit of jargon, what is an inverted fullback and why on earth does Atletico want to press them?
Sure. So a standard fullback, they stay wide, right, on the touchline. An inverted fullback, like Dani Carvajal for Real, he tucks inside. He almost becomes an extra central midfielder when they have the ball.
And Real does this to create an overload. More numbers in the middle.
Exactly. Numerical superiority, more passing options. It sounds smart.
It does sound smart.
Yeah.
So why does Atletico see that as a vulnerability?
Because it's a high-risk, high-reward move.
Yeah.
See, when Carvajal tucks in, he invites Atletico's wide midfielder to follow him.
Okay.
Now, if Atletico tracks that inverted fullback effectively, they use that very moment. When the player is facing his own goal, he's committed to the center. That's the press trigger.
I see.
They immediately swarm him, and they're looking to force turnovers in those really dangerous areas, far from the safety of the center backs.
That is a phenomenal piece of strategy. It turns what looks like a passive defense into an active trap.
That's the word. A trap.
They're creating chaos right where Real is trying to build control.
And once they spring that trap, once they win the ball back, they don't mess around.
No dilly-dallying.
None. Their attack is all about direct transitions. They exploit that turnover instantly.
Yeah.
Long, rapid balls forward to quick forwards like Griezmann or Depay.
And they punish slow recovery better than almost anyone.
Because real structure is built on committing numbers forward. When that structure breaks from a turnover, their defensive shape is often compromised.
Okay, let's flip the field. Let's look at Real Madrid. Their goal is the polar opposite. They want to control possession and stretch that super compressed Atletico rubber band.
They do that through wide overloads and, frankly, by relying on sheer individual and midfield creativity.
Let's clarify wide overloads. How do they create that numerical advantage on the wings against a defense that's designed to be so balanced?
Well, a wide overload just means Real commits, say, 3 or 4 players to one side of the pitch.
So the fullback, the winger.
The fullback, the winger, Bellingham drifting wide, maybe another midfielder. They temporarily outnumber the 2 or 3 Atletico players on that flank.
And the goal is to force Atletico's whole block to shift over.
Right. And when they shift wide, that creates space and passing lanes back in the center, or even better, on the opposite side of the pitch.
And Bellingham is the key to all of this, isn't he? He's the one linking everything, trying to pull those defensive lines apart.
He absolutely is. Real thrives on that constant movement, the interchange of positions.
Yeah.
But this system faces his biggest test against Atletico.
Because Atletico's discipline just tests that fluidity so severely.
It does. Especially if Madrid fails to commit enough numbers forward at just the right moment. Or if a pass is a fraction too slow. If they hesitate, that door just slams shut.
And they're left passing horizontally outside the block.
Exactly. Which raises the big question that often defines these dobies. If Real's beautiful system of overloads and interchanges gets nullified by Simeone's structure, how do they actually score?
Yeah.
And the answer, time and time again, comes down to one thing. Individual brilliance.
A moment of magic.
A moment of magic. Real can still break lines through sheer quality. We're talking a sudden burst of pace from Vinicius Jr., a stunning bit of control in the box, a long-range shot from Rodrigo. That factor one player beating 2 or 3 disciplined defenders is often what wins it when the systems cancel each other out.
So we set up this clash of philosophies, the disciplined counter versus possession that depends on individual magic. How does this translate into the actual battle zones on the pitch?
We can break it down into 3 crucial phase battles that will likely determine the outcome.
Okay.
The first is the build-up battle. This is Real's backline trying to progress the ball against those specific Atletico press triggers we just talked about.
And the consequence of winning or losing this one is huge.
Massive. If Real succeeds here, if they navigate that first press, they get the sustained possession they need to dictate the pace and start building their overloads.
But if Atleti wins that battle, forces a turnover high up the pitch.
Real is immediately on the back foot. They're forced into long balls or risky sideways passes that do nothing.
Okay, battle number 2.
The midfield battle. This is Simeone's compact block versus Madrid's link-up play. And here, we need to talk about vertical progress versus horizontal passing.
Right, the nuance that separates a deep dive from a quick summary.
Exactly. Real Madrid needs vertical progress. Passes that cut through lines, that move the ball from midfield to attackers in dangerous spots. If they can do that, they force Atletico's defenders to break shape.
But if they can't get that vertical penetration, what happens then?
Then Atletico has won. Real is forced into this long, drawn-out, horizontal passing session.
Just sideways, back and forth.
Sideways, recycling possession, trying to find an angle that just isn't there. And Atletico is perfectly happy to let them do that for 90 minutes. The danger is always kept in front of them.
And finally, the third battle, The one that becomes crucial if the game opens up at all.
The transitions battle. This is the foot race.
Simple as that.
It pits Atletico's rapid three-pass counters against Real's defensive recovery speed. It's a test of mentality and fitness. Whichever team is faster and more decisive in the seconds after a turnover, they gain a huge, potentially match-winning advantage.
So looking at all of these elements, the structure, the forced horizontal play, the reliance on individual moments, what does this tell us about the likely pattern of the match?
I think we have to predict a low to medium scoring match.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Atletico's defensive discipline just ensures these are tight, strategic contests. These derbies rarely open up into, 4-3 thrillers. The margins are always small.
And when the margins are that small, set pieces become disproportionately important. Our sources really emphasize that.
Absolutely. Dead balls are a way to bypass the entire tactical stalemate.
Right, a shortcut.
It's a shortcut. Both teams can profit from corners or free kicks, but Atletico specifically, they rely on them as a guaranteed route to goal when open play isn't working.
So if the midfield battle is a stalemate, the team that converts one set piece
Takes a monumental step towards winning the game.
This all just reinforces the idea that the game will be decided by a handful of individual moments, won't it? A great save, a slip up on a corner, or that sudden bit of genius we talked about.
That's the core conflict, the synthesis. Real Madrid has the attacking quality, the history, but Atletico counters with this suffocating tactical structure and a lethal counterattack that makes them a genuine persistent threat.
We did check the pundit insights, the betting markets, and they seem to reflect that technical assessment. They favor Real Madrid, but only as slight favorites.
Very slight favorites. The margin is razor thin, which is exactly what our breakdown predicts. It underscores how competitive this fixture is.
And that earlier point about both teams scoring in recent matches, that's important too. Form suggests that while the scoreline might be low, a goal at both ends is plausible.
Yeah, neither defense is perfectly invulnerable right now. And the pressure of a derby. It just makes defensive errors more likely.
At the end of the day, this clash, it just favors these narrow tactical contests where momentum shifts on key moments, on set pieces, not just on raw talent or possession stats.
It's a contest of resilience, just as much as it is one of ability.
So as you watch this match, you'll now be specifically watching for those inverted fullbacks tucking inside, looking for that exact moment Atletico triggers their press.
You'll be watching to see if Real can actually execute a wide overload.
And you'll be holding your breath during every single set piece.
Which leads us to our final provocative thought for you to chew on. Given all of this, the low-scoring prediction, the set-piece reliance, the pressure cooker environment, which factor is more likely to survive? Is it Real's dependence on individual unscripted brilliance, or is it Atletico's disciplined, unwavering, and repeatable defensive structure?
That is the fundamental tension of the Madrid derby, and the answer will tell us who takes the spoils. That's all the time we have for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us.